Hello mga kapatid! We are in our 10th episode of our Online Kamustahan, and before we start this episode, let's start this with a prayer. So after this prayer, ipakilala natin kung sino yung mga kasama natin for today. I-welcome natin yung dalawa nating host, Sir Chen and Sir Jax. Hello po!
Hello po, magandang hapon po sa lahat. Okay po.
Magandang
Hello.
hapon po, sir.
Hi.
Hello, Ma'am Camille, Sir Chen. Kamusta naman kayo?
Hi po!
Hi, Sir Jackson, Ma'am Camille. Okay naman po. Ito.
Okay naman.
Very doing good. Kayo, sir.
Oo. Actually, kanina po medyo kakatapos ko nga lang po magklase. And mag-lunch. So sana all ng mga nanonood po dyan, sana masarap ang lunch nyo. Masarap ang ulam nyo. Okay po. And actually this episode, we're in episode 10 na po, no? Tama
Yes
po, no? Okay. We are very excited, no? Ma'am Camille and Sir Chen. I believe excited na rin kayo kasi yung guest natin ngayon is from a group that I personally, feeling ko kayo din, na admire yung kanilang advocacy. And lately, they're in social media. I believe a lot of people follow them as well. Even my students are excited kasi I told my students we will have them as a guest. No? So, sino nga ba Sir Chen ang ating guest ngayon?
Hi, sir, and everyone, Ma'am Camille. Today's speaker for our 10th episode is a registered psychometrician. She is also a certified psychological first aid provider, a member of the Juan Psychologist group, and she's currently working as a full-time recruitment and psychometric head, and then also as a part-time college mentor. Currently pursuing Master of Arts in Clinical Psychology thesis program. Please give her a round of applause, Miss Kayereen Rachelle Abiad.
Yan si Ma'am.
Hi everyone! Good afternoon.
Hello po. Hello Miss Kay.
Hello everyone.
Hello po ulit.
Thank you so much for having us here on behalf of the One Psychologist team. It's really our pleasure na ma-invite kami sa ganitong talk. So thank you very much.
And thank you po for
as well.
It's our pleasure.
Yeah.
And thank you po sa pagtanggap ng aming invitation.
Of course, anytime. So kung gusto nyo umikot yung The One Psychologist, no problem.
Okay, ino-note namin yan, ma'am.
That's for sure. Yeah.
I believe we have different expertise din eh. So mas marami pang ma-share din yung iba kong mga kasama. So i-note nyo na yan.
Sige po, ma'am. And also, ma'am, if ever po na we can help din sa Sinagdiwa sa mga future activities po ng One Psychologist, we're very much willing po to help.
Alright, I'll take note of that too.
Okay po.
Okay, ma'am. So, here is our speaker, everyone. Give another round of applause for Miss Kay.
Thank you. Should I start now? Okay, so there you go. Our topic for today, it's entitled as Get to Know Yourself on a Deeper Level, a Self-Case Conceptualization. So I've actually chosen this topic, no, kasi it's very common to us that we get to know other people or we get to know each other, but rarely we get to know ourselves better or on a deeper level. So that's why ito yung topic na napili natin. Get to know yourself on a deeper level. Before I start, I just want to share with you some quotes that I personally love. This one, the Best of You series, Getting to Know Yourself. It's through self-awareness. So, syempre, di ba, as mentioned earlier, we get to know other people and we rarely get to know ourselves. So ito, parang it's our best series naman, the best series natin sa sarili natin. And the more you know yourself, the more clarity there is. So I also believe in this one because the more you know yourself, mas maraming klaro sa isip mo, sa paligid mo, at sa lahat ng aspeto ng buhay mo. And lastly, know yourself and you will win all battles. I know most of you will agree, no, that the greatest battle talaga is ang pinaka greatest enemy natin rather is also ourselves. So, but when we get to know ourselves better, mas marami tayong mapapanalunang laban sa buhay, psychologically, mentally, physically, kahit ano pa mang battles yan, basta we know ourselves better lang. So that's why I'm sharing these quotes with all of you. And later on, malalaman din natin why is it very important to deeply know ourselves. Okay, so let's begin. Okay. The rationale behind this topic, getting to know yourself and self-case conceptualization, I'm sure most of you who's also following the One Psychologist, nakita tong post na to na don't self-diagnose or no to self-diagnosis. So, kasi the One Psychologist really advocate na wag tayong mag-self-diagnosis because the diagnosis itself or yung term na yon is being conducted or ginagawa siya ng mga eksperto or ng mga experts. Ito yung parang nasa klinika, yung mga clinicians na yung gumagawa. So that's why we are promoting or ito yung advocate yung stand namin na no to self-diagnosis. Again, we're not against dun sa mga online tests or yung mga psychometric tests online. Ang against kami is yung pagsi-self-diagnosis ng mga taong nag-online testing. Kasi yung mga online test naman na yon, they also have their own disclaimer that it's just for initial assessment and for you to become aware lang of what's going on with yourself. Pero they also disclaim na hindi yon talagang magsasabi na final na yun yung talagang sakit mo. So, this is the reason why kaya namin pinopromote talaga tong no to self-diagnosis kasi, di ba pag sa physical health naman, madalas tayo, nagpapacheck up tayo when we read yung mga symptoms online. Di ba, kunwari may nararamdaman tayo physically, nakikita natin sa online, positive, ganito yung sakit natin. But we seek for the professional opinion, yung mga doctors pupunta tayo. And kadalasan pa nga nagpapa-second opinion tayo, third opinion. So until maniwala tayo, 'di ba, na ito talaga yung sakit natin. So same goes with our mental health, no? So if we give importance with our physical health, sana ganun din tayo sa mental health natin na we don't really rely on one assessment. We don't really only rely dun lang sa iisang test na na-take natin or quiz na na-take natin and then magsa-self-diagnose tayo. That's why itong topic na to, yung isi-share ko sa inyo, instead of self-diagnosis, di ba, don't self-diagnose, let's do self-case conceptualization. So for self-case conceptualization, all throughout this talk, malalaman natin yung mga steps. Kung paano ba ginagawa tong self-case conceptualization. Again, the term case conceptualization is being conducted by clinicians or yung mga experts na. Case conceptualization is also called as case formulation. Ito yung mga collective beliefs ng clinician sa client or sa patient. But of course, gamit yung mga theoretical orientation or yung mga theories, no? But what we can do is self-case conceptualization. That's the reason why we have to we get to know ourselves deeply by doing self-case conceptualizations. And the steps are, number 1 is identify your problems, identify your goals, identify potential obstacles, identify your source of strength and your personal values. And lastly, identify possible coping strategies. So, ito yung mga steps na pwede natin gawin para makapag-come up tayo sa self-case conceptualization. So, it's okay na mag-take ka ng mga quizzes or ng mga online tests. That's fine. Pero don't do self-diagnosis. It's a big no-no, okay? But what you can do is that kung meron kayong na-identify na problem sa inyo or parang naging aware kayo na, ay, ito na pala yung mga symptoms, ganito, ganyan, then you can do self-case conceptualization. But again, this is far different from the case conceptualization that the experts are doing or conducting. Okay? So let's go over with the first step, identifying your problem. So, what's your problem? So I've actually chosen the problem na lahat tayo makaka-relate because this is something that we are all facing. Parang lahat tayo, ito yung nagiging problema. Kasi mahirap mag-self-conceptualize, self-case conceptualization if it's not yourself, diba? So at least ako, makaka-relate kayo and kayo din, makaka-relate kayo. So what's our problem? What's our current problem? Our current problem is adapting to the new normal or adjusting to pandemic life. Sabi nga nila, #new normal. So this is the current problem na lahat tayo, we are facing. Ito yung pinaka nararanasan natin lahat. So what to do when we already identify our problem? So this is the first step. This is just the first step of self-case conceptualization. Once you identify your problem, which is adapting to the new normal or adjusting to pandemic life, you have to go back to your goals. What are your goals? Your goals, yung goals nyo dapat specific to. Yung dapat smart, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. So, yun yung goals na tinutukoy dito. But since, of course, pandemic happens, no? Yung goals natin for 2020, syempre, meron na tayong mga goals na sinet prior to 2020. So, 2019 pa lang, lahat tayo, every one of us already set our goals for 2020. Some of you, meron kayong mga travel goals for this year sana. And then some of you, yung mga gagraduate, yung mga gumraduate na dapat maghahanap sila ng mga trabaho. Ito yung mga napili nilang, or yung mga mag-e-enroll pa lang. Ito na yung school na gusto nilang pasukan. So, a lot of us already identified our goals, right? Pero what if your 2020 goals, you have to ask yourself then, kung yung 2020 goals mo ba, loading na. Meaning to say, kasi diba yung problem natin is adjusting to the new normal or adjusting to pandemic life. So, naapektuhan ba nung problema mo yung goals mo? So, once you identified your goals, you have to ask yourself, ano na bang nangyari sa goals ko? Pwede pa ba to? Loading na ba siya? Yung 2020 goals ko ba, na travel goals ko, of course, hindi na siya pwede. Yung pag-aaral ko ba, yung napili kong school, napili kong trabaho dapat, yung mag-a-apply ako, pwede ko pa ba siyang i-pursue? So you have to identify, or you have to conceptualize sa sarili mo kung ano pa ba yung mga goals mo na pasok, at ano pa ba yung mga goals mo na pwede mo nang i-let go. That's why, etong picture na to, it says here, you are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream. So, ibig sabihin, di ba, once you identified yung mga goals mo na pwede pa for 2020, no? And then yung mga goals mo na kailangan mo nang iset aside kasi hindi na siya applicable for this year, or dahil sa nangyayari sa atin with what's happening around us, the COVID-19 or the pandemic. You have to create another goal, or you have to dream a new dream, kasi age is never an issue when it comes to setting goals, or when it comes to dreaming, no. Wala namang pinipiling edad din ng pangangarap. Libre nga lang ang mangarap eh. And of course, yung setting ng goals mo, wala rin siyang pinipiling edad. Whatever works for you, kung ano yung pwede mong ma-attain pa habang ito yung nangyayari, then go for it, dream for it, no? And then, so that's our second step. So, of course, after identifying your problems, and then after identifying your goals, what are the goals na pwede nang i-set aside, and what are the goals na pwedeng idagdag or pwede mo pang baguhin, identify yung mga challenges or obstacles ahead. And of course, wag mo rin kakalimutan yung problem mo, yung pinaka-main problem mo. So the main problem is adjusting to the new normal. Paulit-ulit nating maririnig yan, kasi which is true naman, dahil yun talaga yung nangyayari sa atin ngayon, no? Itong pandemic na to. So what are the obstacles or the challenges? Number one, nakikita nyo yung wallet, di ba? Parang wala nang laman. So, this is one of the things, or topmost, if not one of the things, na talagang magiging challenges for everyone across all ages to, especially for those who are working, sa mga breadwinners, and sa may mga family, talagang financial problems, financial loss. And of course, yung mga iba dyan, jobless, nawalan ng trabaho, retrench, yan, na-lay off sila kasi yung mga companies or yung mga pinagtatrabahuhan nila nagsara din because of the COVID-19 or this pandemic. And then, of course, complicated technology. So this one is applicable, I think, for most of us, especially for those who are working from home, yung may mga trabaho pa. It actually goes with the internet connection. So, yung mga working students, yung mga nag-work from home, or yung mga estudyante na online classes lang. So, itong complicated technology na to, yung internet connection, it goes hand in hand. Kasi not everyone is a tech savvy. Parang ako, I'm not a tech savvy din. And we also know na talagang from time to time nagkakaroon tayo ng problema sa internet connection. So, again, these obstacles or yung mga challenges na sinabi ko, these are just examples. But, kasi it depends pa rin sa person, no? Kasi merong iba sa atin na talagang mas matindi yung pinagdadaanan bukod sa financial problems, pagkawala ng trabaho. Some of us, yung meron silang mga relatives na positive sa COVID-19. So aside from adjusting to the new normal, aside from yung main problem talaga is itong new normal na to, meron sa kanila nawalan ng mahal sa buhay. So marami pa rin talagang mga challenges, and these four are just some of those challenges or obstacles that we are about to face, or for some of us, we are already facing, no? So, but it's very important for us to know, i-list down natin kung ano yung mga obstacles or challenges, yung mga difficulties pa na pwede nating maranasan. Okay, so that's our third step. Medyo mabilis lang etong discussion natin, kasi it's really more on ourselves. Pero if you were going to take a look on the process, medyo parang malalim mo ring makikilala din talaga yung sarili mo, especially with our next step. Okay, which is identifying our source of strength, or identify your source of strength, and incorporate your personal value. So that's our fourth step. Kasi dito, syempre, kailangan natin, while we face challenges or obstacles, no, it's also important that we are reminded of our of our strengths, and yung mga source of strength natin and our personal values, because they serve as our guiding principles, and they motivate our action. So ito sila yung nag-guide din sa mga actions natin, nagmo-motivate din sa atin when we feel down, kapag parang we feel na hindi na natin kaya yung problema. Kasi itong problema na example natin, the new normal, meron yung iba sa atin may mas malalim pang problema. So, kaya kailangan mo ring i-identify sino ba yung mga tao, or ano-ano ba yung mga bagay na napaghuhugutan mo ng lakas, or yung nagmo-motivate sa'yo to keep going, to continue when you feel down, when you feel like giving up na, and then incorporate your personal values. So ito yung mga bagay na pinaniniwalaan mo sa sarili mo. Personal values could either be your kaya siya parang yung source of strength and personal values, parang sabay mo siyang gagamitin, kasi parang parehas eh. Yung personal values mo could also be your family, or kung sino man yung mga taong pinaghuhugutan mo din ng lakas, at yung mga paniniwala mo na nakakapagbigay sa'yo ng motivation. So, one good example is, of course, our spiritual connection to the Lord. So, I think most of us can relate, and it's very good, it's a good thing na nag-start tayo with the prayer, no? Itong presentation natin, we started with the prayer. And I think most of us would agree na itong spiritual connection, or our connection to the Lord sa kay God is really one of the our topmost source of strength talaga. So it could be either by prayer, or just by thanking the Lord every day that you are alive, or parang na bagong tsansa ng buhay, 'di ba? So, it's a very good thing na meron tayong spiritual connection kay Lord. Kasi, in that way, it also boosts not just spiritually, but also our psychological or mental din. And of course, physical na din. Nakakapag-regain tayo ng strength. And, syempre, ang family natin. So, aside from our spiritual connection, of course, itong family natin, sila talaga din yung nakakapagbigay sa atin ng lakas, especially nowadays that we are all staying at home. Most of us are staying at home, no? So, ang nakakasama talaga natin is our family. So, it's very important na meron kayong close relationship with your family, kasi whenever you face a problem or challenges or difficulties in your lives across all ages, kahit sa mga bata, sa estudyante, or sa mga nagtatrabaho, masarap din kasi na yung family mo natatakbuhan mo, 'di ba? Na pagsasabihan mo ng mga problema mo. And syempre, kung meron tayong family, nandiyan si SpongeBob and si Patrick, no? Andiyan yung mga friends natin na kahit na hindi tayo masyadong nagkikita-kita, virtually lang, no? Most of the time, through chat lang. At least it's very important din na meron tayong mga friends na nandyan para sa atin, na alam natin na pwede nating pag-sharean din ng mga problema. And I think most of us naman din talaga nagre-relate, aside from family, talagang takbuhan natin, our friends. And syempre, aside from family, friends, look for other social support network, right? It could be your neighbors, it could be the community members, your co-workers, or your church members, diba? So, there are a lot of social support naman na makukuha natin. So, you just have to identify kung sino sa kanila, or kung sino sa mga social support network nito yung talagang napagkukuhaan mo ng lakas ng loob. So, and of course, it's also important na while we get social support from these people, from our family, from our friends, and from other social support, let's try to help other people then. Let's try to give them social support as well. It's not really fixing their problems, but it could also add up to your mental well-being kasi parang relieve mo yon na nakatulong ka din. So aside from you getting some support or social support from other people, why not try to help other people then? Kasi it's good to know na meron kang kasama during this kind of situation or during this difficulty, during this pandemic. Masarap na malaman mo na hindi ka nag-iisa. So, balikan lang yan ng social support, diba? So, that's for our fourth step, which is identifying your source of strength and your personal values. And then for our last step, ito yung identifying possible coping strategies. So, of course, kapag meron tayong mga problema, kung nakikita nyo sa screen or din sa presentation, yung focus, yung word na focus, medyo blurry na siya, medyo blurred na siya. I chose this picture because I want to say some, or parang meron akong gustong i-picture out, or meron akong gustong message na talagang after this coping strategy section. So, kasi when we face problems or challenges or yung mga problema natin, which is the new normal, balik tayo dun sa problema natin, no? Adjusting to the new normal or adapting to the new normal, we tend to lose our focus. Sabi ko nga, di ba, kanina yung second step natin, identify your goals. Yung mga goals mo ba na yon, nagagawa mo pa, pwede mo pa bang gawin? Or na-lose track ka na din, hindi mo na rin alam yung gagawin mo. Parang nawalan ka na rin ng gana to continue, to keep going because you are facing this current problem, which is the new normal. So we tend to lose our focus, okay? And one of the things na pwede natin gawin is to look for possible coping strategies, mga potential coping strategies. This can be self-help techniques. Actually, yung self-case conceptualization, it's a self-help technique naman din talaga to increase our mental well-being. So, these coping strategies then, pwede natin itong gawin kapag aside from, kasi pag meron na tayong na-identify na natin yung source of strength natin and yung na-incorporate na rin natin yung personal values natin, pwede din nating incorporate yung mga possible coping strategies that will work for us, that will work for you, diba, as an individual. So one of which is, I love this quote, acceptance is a simple recognition of the truth that this is the way things are in this moment. So one of the things na kailangan nating matutunan when we are facing our problems is really acceptance. Right now, our main problem is adjusting to the new normal. So what we need to do is to acceptance of the new normal. Accept that this is the current situation. Accept na ito na talaga yung nangyayari. That that we cannot control it. It's beyond our control anymore. Kasi wala hindi labas talaga tayo doon Kumbaga, itong pandemic na to, every one of us nagsasuffer. Lahat tayo nagsasuffer. Kasi if we can control things, ibig sabihin, may mga taong pwedeng hindi nagsasuffer doon. But etong pandemic na to, etong problema na to, lahat tayo, di ba? We are suffering from this. So we have to accept that this is the truth right now. Ito yung nangyayari sa moment na to. Secondly, hindi ito siya step-by-step ha. These are just some of the coping strategies. Is emotion awareness. As you can see, may mga emojis dyan na sad ka ba, in love ka ba, happy ka ba, diba? So you have to make sure then na identify your emotions at the moment. Parang pwede mong tanungin yung sarili mo, ano bang nararamdaman mo with what's happening with the COVID-19, with the pandemic, MECQ, GCQ, paulit-ulit, diba? Pabalik-balik tayo doon. Anong nararamdaman mo? Nalulungkot ka na ba? Na kinakabahan ka na ba? Nade-depress ka na ba? So you have to identify ano yung current emotions mo. Okay? And then once you know your current emotions, pwede mo na rin gamitin yung cognitive reframing. So, as you can see sa picture, di ba, yung unang phase, it's angry or mad, galit, ganyan. And then yung second, which is the blue one, yung phase niya, naging happy na siya, naging okay na siya, na masaya na siya. So, dito sa cognitive reframing, instead of you asking yourself, why is this happening? Why is this pandemic happening to all of us? Why are we suffering from this pandemic? Why don't you try to reframe it by saying or asking yourself na, ano ba yung pwede kong matutunan sa sitwasyon na to? Or what is this pandemic teaching me, or what is this pandemic teaching us all about? Which is true. Because if you're gonna take a look on the positive note, or parang positive side ng pandemic nito, kahit na mas maraming negative, yung positive side niya is most of us are reconnected with our loved ones. Kung dati, nag-start na mag-evolve yung technology, mas madali na tayong nakakapag-communicate or nakakapag-connect sa mga mahal natin sa buhay, or yung mga dati na hindi na natin nakakausap, pero hindi pa rin natin nagagawa madalas, diba? Maybe some of us are busy, or some of us talagang hindi lang yan priority. But right now, this pandemic is teaching us to reconnect to our loved ones and become more close to our family, to the people around us. So, at least meron pa rin namang positive side, and makikita mo rin yung unity sa bawat isa, di ba? So, that's how cognitive reframing then is important when it comes to increasing mental well-being. And another thing, of course, breathe slowly in and out. I believe kayo dito sa Sinag Diwa, di ba? You will agree that a lot of studies show that breathing deeply is one of the best ways to actually calm anxiety or to relieve stress. So, ibig sabihin, hindi lang siya pang physical exercise talaga, pero nakakatulong din siya sa anxiety, nakaka-relieve din siya ng stress. So, it really increases our mental well-being as well. So, yeah. So, maganda rin na ginagamit natin yung breathing deeply, as in deeply din. And yeah, fun fact, itong 5 senses, do you know that your 5 senses, you can actually run through your senses and it will take like a few seconds lang, as in few seconds lang, na aalamin mo lang yung mga nangyayari sa paligid mo, and it will help you or will keep you present and focus on what is real. For vision, just try to look on what's happening around you. So ako, for example, ngayon, ako, I know ang problema ko is pandemic, adjusting to the new normal, but I'll just take this few seconds lang na gagamitin ko tong 5 senses ko. For example, right now, what I can see is bintana, itong mga gamit ko dito sa sa table, no? And then what I hear, yung mga aso din sa labas while I'm doing this presentation. What I can smell, kasi I have my coffee here beside me, so I can smell it, and also I can taste it kasi kakainom ko lang din. And then touch. You can use your touch by touching yourself na mainit ka ba, malamig ka ba, ano bang nararamdaman mo ngayon. So, from this thing, if you do that, parang makikip mo rin yung sa sarili mo, okay, ito yung nangyayari sa akin. This is the reality. Okay, this is what kasi di ba minsan, when we tend to lose our focus, parang nakatulala lang tayo parang nakatulala lang tayo, hindi natin alam yung gagawin natin or yung sasabihin natin, mapapatulala ka na lang kasi iniisip mo yung problema mo, gusto mo nang matapos lahat to. So, one of the things you can do is to run through your senses and it will take a few seconds lang. Okay? And then, there, kung kanina medyo blurry yung focus natin, ayan, kapag nakahanap tayo ng mga coping strategies natin, pwede na tayong babalik na yung focus natin and makakapag-focus na rin tayo dun sa goals natin, makapag-set na rin tayo ng another goals natin. But of course, just to disclaim lang, these coping mechanisms, it doesn't mean hindi tayo itong one size fits all. Meaning to say, it doesn't mean that it works for you will work for others too, or vice versa. What will work for others will not work for you. Hindi po ganon. So it depends. That's why it's very important to get to know yourself better or on a deeper level para alam mo kung ano yung mga mag-work sa'yo na coping strategies or coping mechanism. So that's the important thing of knowing your goals, knowing your strength, knowing the challenges ahead or difficulties that you're about to face personally or as an individual. And then try to incorporate your strength and try to incorporate your strength and your personal values, and then see what kind of coping strategies or coping mechanism will work for you. And also, it doesn't mean na kapag kunwari ginamit mo tong mga na-discuss natin na ayan, yung mga acceptance, cognitive framing, emotional awareness, breathing, use of five senses, it doesn't mean lahat yan mag-work all throughout or forever mo nang gagamitin. If it happens na kunwari yung cognitive reframing or yung emotion awareness and even yung five senses wala naman pang naidudulot sa'yo, then change it. Identify another possible or potential coping strategies that will work for you. Wala naman din tayong rule na kapag ginamit mo to, ito na yung gagamitin mo. Hindi naman to yung parang binili mo yung item, kailangan mong pangalagaan kasi yun na yun forever mo nang gagamitin. No, you can change it and it's okay to change your coping mechanism as long as it works for you. Okay? So these are the steps. Again, yung steps natin is to identify your problem, identify your goals, and then what to set aside, and then what to add, or kung ano yung pwedeng baguhin, and then identify the challenges or difficulties ahead. And of course, identify your source of strength and incorporate your personal values, and identify coping strategies or mechanisms. So there. Okay, meron pa pala. But this one, it's not the step. It's not part of the self-case conceptualization steps. This is just the main takeaways from this presentation that I also wanted to share with you. So let's read lang. Finding your inner self doesn't mean that we always need to find our inner strength or talent. Sometimes it is needed to find our weaknesses, lacks, and mistakes to know ourselves better. Things that hard to commit and harder to rectify usually are the obstacles in the path of our best version. So while it's important to know your strength or your talent, no, or yung mga personal values mo, it's also important din talaga na alam mo yung mga challenges that you're going to face. Kasi in that way, mapaghahandaan mo, magiging ready ka that whatever problems you face, magiging madali na lang din sa'yo kasi alam mo na yung mga possible challenges or difficulties mo. And then, of course, focus on what you can control, leave what you can. So, at yung sinasabi natin kanina na acceptance, diba? Because there are things na talagang beyond our control. But what we control right now is our emotion, our actions, and tayo as a person, as an individual, for you to get to know yourself deeply and para hindi mo mawala yung self-concept mo na yun or parang yung ikaw sa sarili mo, focus on what you can control and just leave what you can. Kumbaga, hayaan mo na yung mga bagay na hindi mo naman talaga kayang makontrol pa. Just focus on what you can do or what you can control. And then lastly, train your mind to see the good in every situation. Well, it's easier said than done, pero it's a good practice that we really train ourselves, no? Especially kapag kaya mo nang gawin tong self-case conceptualization sa sarili mo. Kaya mo na ring i-train yung sarili mo to see the good in every situation. Pasok mo lang dyan yung emotion awareness and cognitive reframing. So, para mas maging madali. Okay? There. So, I think, yeah. Of course, sinama ko lang din yung mga photo credits natin because it's really important to give credits to whom credit is due. No? So, again, balik pala tayo dito. So, before I end the presentation, again, itong self-case conceptualization natin, it's very important na malaman natin sa sarili natin kung ano ba yung mga kaya pa natin gawin. And again, just to disclaim, this is far different from the case conceptualization that a clinician or an expert is already doing or conducting. It's really different. It's far different. So self-case conceptualization is like an initial assessment sa sarili mo just for you to be aware kung ano ba yung pinagdadaanan mo. Okay? So, there you go. I think I'm done. So, yeah. There.
Hello, ma'am. Hello po ulit.
Hi!
And we're back. Okay. Thank you, ma'am, for that very meaningful talk po, no? Actually, while you are having your talk, ang dami kong, ano ba? I'm trying to check myself then. I'm trying to evaluate myself.
Oo.
Ano yung mga source of
The
strengths,
reason
no?
why, the reason why we chose this topic talaga, kasi
Opo.
recently, di ba, there has been a circulation of online results, self-diagnosis. So, instead of doing self-diagnosis, what we can promote as a psych practitioner or a psych major is this self-case conceptualization. And I think hindi naman to kabawasan sa mga clinicians na or sa mga experts na, kasi even them, talagang tinuturo rin nila to. Actually kami, natutunan ko din to while we were in our clinical psych subject, itong self-case conceptualization, na pwede pala talaga nating i-conceptualize yung sarili natin, no? But of course, depende pa rin yun. Kasi kung hindi mo na kayang i-handle yung sarili mo, that's the time we have to seek for professional or yung mga expert na tulong na talaga.
Yes po, ma'am. Actually, I was about to ask that, ma'am. Buti nalinaw niyo po ng bandang huli. Kasi usually when I hear conceptualization, usually what I remember is yung sa psych report, yung pag sa clinical
Yeah,
setting.
oo.
Okay.
Kasi diba ang case conceptualization is also case formulation. Talagang tedious na yan. Meron dyan yung mga assumptions mo, mga beliefs mo, core beliefs, yung situation 1, ganyan-ganyan. So, steps yun talaga ng case conceptualization. Tapos, babalik ka sa root cause niya ng childhood experience mo. So, that's why kanina ko pa din disclaim na this is far different from the case conceptualization talaga.
And also po, maganda yung ano niya, ma'am, yung timing po pala. Kasi yung previous episode namin is about prioritizing the self. So, parang more on... opo,
tugma siya.
opo. So, parang
ano siya,
connected.
connected.
Yes po. So, parang ang ganda nung continuation, nung transition po baga. Okay. And ayun po, Sir Chen, how about you, sir? Ako kasi talagang nakagalaw ako kanina, nakatitig lang siya, nag-iisip ako.
Actually, just to share lang, akala ko kanina, may makikita ako na, kunwari, nakikita ko yung sarili ko, nakikita ko kayo, ganyan.
Okay,
yung pala talagang presentation lang. So, parang nagulat ako.
Yes po.
But I know that's fine.
Ginamit nyo rin yung ano ma'am, yung 5 senses nyo, no?
Yeah, oo.
O, di ba? May
Oo.
self-conceptualization din naganap.
Yes, definitely. Kasi I think it's for us para talaga makarelate din yung ibang tao.
Yeah.
When para sa talk, 'di ba, sa mga presentation, we also have to put ourselves in their shoes. Kung ikaw ba yung nandun sa sitwasyon nila, paano ka makaka-relate sa talk mo, 'di ba? So it's very important na you're giving examples that are relevant and also that other people or the viewers can relate.
Exactly.
So, yun.
Napaganda rin po talaga nung concept na to, no? Kasi somehow meron tayong tinatawag din, somehow I see it is related to identifying your existential crisis.
Yes, definitely.
Right?
So, yung existential na yan, yung founder namin, he's very good when explaining to existential talaga. Isa yan sa mga forte niya. So, inuot niya yan.
That's what I noticed.
Diba?
Is a Rainer po ba yan?
Shout out daw sa founder namin.
Oh, yeah. Yan yung na-notice ko talaga, yung existential
Rainer na po
presentation. I get the feeling that, we identify and acknowledge our limits, so we can try imagining a box or a square, no? Yun yung ating limits, but we don't stop there. We have a lot of things we can do within those limits. So, yun yung pinaka-concept. That's my takeaway from this, and it's really helpful for everyone.
Yeah. Wow, I'm very flattered na talagang yung mga main takeaways, talagang nakinig pala kayo.
Opo, yes.
And very flattered na may natutunan kayo dito sa presentation.
Alam mo, ma'am, dyan tayo kailangan magaling sa mga insights.
Yes.
Opo, and itong mga every episodes namin, nakakatuwa kasi we're learning from each other. So parang, usually po, isipin ko, parang nakakagulat kasi, ang dami ko palang hindi alam, parang ang dami ko palang pwedeng no? Or yung sa mga dati mo pong alam, meron ka pa palang, pwede mo siyang tignan sa ibang perspective.
Yeah.
No? Which is very good and very, nakakatuwa lang. Kasi, especially ngayon po, no, we have a very, tugma po yung mga sinabi niya regarding what's happening around us right now. And, Anyway, bago pa ako may mga sabihin ako siguro later na lang. Kasi I would like to to ask the audience. Kasi yung mga audience po natin, hello po ulit sa manonood na sa live natin. If you have any questions po, please feel free po to
Yeah,
comment
oo.
or po and share your insights din. Okay po. Para po we can ask Miss Kay habang nandito po siya, no, samantalahin na natin pagkakataon na magtanong. Eh,
Yeah, no worries. And gusto ko yung sinabi mo, Sir Jax,
Opo.
na talagang natututo rin kayo. Kasi, just to give you, just to share with you also, I am not sure kung nararanasan nyo na-experience nyo din, but every time, kapag tayo mga psych majors or psych practitioners, pag nagre-review tayo, kahit na alam na natin to, sometimes talaga, meron pa rin talaga tayong nalalaman,
Totoo,
parang
ma'am.
certain
Oo.
Totoo
topic na
po
yun,
yun.
no? May nati-discover din tayo.
May moment of
Um,
epiphany.
Yes, correct. So parang that's the very interesting part in studying psychology talaga.
True, ma'am. Tsaka ano po, pag the more you learn, parang ano po ba? Parang the more na parang feeling mo parang kulang pa. Or parang
Mm-mm.
more questions. So mag-explore ka pa ulit.
Yeah.
then then you will ask the perspective of other psych majors or practitioners. So mas lumalawak po. So maganda talaga po parang
Yeah.
kamustahan tayo, meron tayo ng discourse about these things.
Mm-mm.
And very much applicable sa buhay po natin, especially ngayon po. No? Parang
Mm-mm.
it's very important to know our source of strength. Especially ngayon, we have been in the in quarantine for mga 6 months na po yata. And
Yeah.
I have a lot of students and marami po nag-message for example sa page na ayun po parang mataas na yung anxiety nila and
Mm-mm.
they're very worried, which is that would be understandable. And upon hearing your niyo po kanina, sinasabi niyo, parang yun nga po, babalik ako dun sa what is our source of strength, ano yung social support, or pati yung mga tips niyo po sa coping strategies na actually pwede siyang gawin pwede
Yeah.
natin gawin siya kahit
Yep.
sa bahay tayo. It's very helpful.
Mm-mm.
Anyway,
Mm-mm.
opo.
Yeah. And reminder lang po ulit po no, sa ating viewers, do not self-diagnose.
Yeah.
Remember, it is done by a clinician, a licensed psychologist, after a series or a battery of tests, no, in combination with behavior observation and interviews. So please, yung mga online test po, although meron po siyang results, we can use them as a guide
Yeah.
to check where we at, no, kung
Yeah.
kamusta na tayo.
And just to add lang, again, we're not against those online tools or
Yeah,
online
yeah.
assessments because even them, they have their own disclaimer na talagang hindi yun pang talaga, na final. So
Yep.
that's the important thing na kumbaga parang sinishare lang nila yun, kaya siya free. It's just for us to be aware, but it doesn't mean we have to diagnose. Sabi ko nga kanina, as mentioned earlier, while we give importance to our physical health, kasi di ba kunwari, pag sa physical natin, may mga symptoms tayo nararamdaman, feeling natin may cancer tayo or whatsoever, kasi pag may namamaga sa atin, di ba, we try to look for symptoms online, pero hindi tayo naniniwala agad. Nagsisik tayo ng help from our professionals, sa mga doctors natin, and even yung COVID-19 ngayon, yung mga signs and symptoms, di ba kahit na may checklist na tayo, alam na natin yung dapat signs and symptoms, we still get to go to our doctors
Professional,
para
yes.
seek professional, and minsan nagpapa-second or third opinion pa tayo. So it
Yes.
should also give importance, the same importance sa mental health, na sana hindi ganun kadali para sa kanila na mag-diagnose kasi hindi talaga madali. It takes a lot of processes and a lot of studies by experts or clinicians, no, para makapag-come up sa diagnosis or sa sa diagnosis. So it's a
Yes.
no
Yeah.
to stop diagnosis.
Yeah, but
Yes, ma'am.
totoo po talaga yan, no? Perhaps we can use them as a guide to, like I
Yeah.
mentioned earlier, na kamusta na ba ako? And then we can gauge ourselves from there if we need to go and find, or seek
Yes.
professional help. And then, maybe that's the first step towards towards wellness. Yeah, thank you very much. Guys, may questions ka, Sir Dax?
Okay po. Habang nag-wait po tayo ng questions. Okay, ito po may question po tayo.
May
Okay.
question siya.
Okay po, I would read lang po from Sir Gio de la Paz. Hi, I would like to ask po some specific tips on how to know myself better. Thank you. And by the way, I learned a lot from this talk. More power po.
Wow, thank you so much, Gio de la Paz. So, siguro pwede mong i-practice yung steps ng self-case conceptualization, no? Identify your current problem, ano ba ngayon yung or yung nararanasan mong problema, and then balik ka doon sa goals mo. Bago ka nagka-problema or during that problem, ano ba yung mga goals na meron ka? And then identify yung mga goals mo ba yon, naapektuhan ba yun ng problema mo? And then, kasi kahit na, kunwari na meron ka pang current problem, meron pa rin mga challenges or difficulties ahead aside from the main problem, right? So you have to also identify yung mga possible or potential obstacles or challenges na pwede mo pang maranasan. And then, you can also do yung step-by-step ng self-case conceptualization. And as mentioned, be mindful lang that not every coping mechanism naman, it doesn't mean na nag-work for other people, mag-work din for you. Pero mas maganda na alamin mo muna sa sarili mo kung ano ba yung mali, ano ba yung mga goals mo, and then identify your strengths, incorporate your personal values, and then learn what kind of coping mechanisms yung mga pwede mo pang gawin para maging better ka or maging okay ka. There's no
Thank you,
specific
ma'am.
kasi, sorry, just to para lang bumalik tayo dun sa question na yung specific tips. Wala kasi talagang specific tips kasi it depends sa tao, 'di ba? Even sa psychotherapy, counseling, kaya nga may mga different therapeutic styles or therapeutic na mga ginagamit yung mga psychologists or psychotherapists kasi depende talaga yun sa tao. So, siguro try to self-conceptualize muna and then see kung ano pa yung mga natutunan mo while doing the self-case conceptualization.
Thank you, ma'am, for that, no? Tsaka ano po, no? Case-to-case basis talaga, no?
Yes,
Parang,
definitely.
oo, parang tulad na sabi niya, what works with one would not necessarily work to sa isa.
Oo.
Parang kailangan
Sabi ko
tailor
mga
fit.
nagustuhan ko talaga yung phrase na it's not a one size fits all. So yung parang hindi porket kasya
Yeah.
sa'yo, kasya sa ibang tao, diba?
Yes po. And very individualized yung approach.
Yes.
Supposedly, kung ano yung case niya. No?
Cinderella
Ayun
ang
po.
peg.
Yeah.
Opo. Ay, baka may iba po tayong mga comments or questions po sa ating
Meron
comment
po,
section.
sir.
Oh, si Doc
From-
Dags.
Yeah, from Doc Dags.
Hello,
Saso.
Doc.
Hi, Doc. Hi, Sir Chen and Sir Jax and Miss Kay. Please share some practical daily activities to help students manage their stress. Why don't we start with Miss Kay, ladies first?
Sure. I've actually done a presentation then or talk naman sa mga estudyante. That one is for mental coping in terms of study from home or yung social distance learning. No? So siguro one of the practical daily activities na pwede niyong gawin is to seek social support from your family, from your friends. So kung nasa bahay lang kayo as a student to manage your stress, siguro pwede kayong maggawa ng mga activities, any activities na pwede nyong makasama yung family nyo. Kasi in that way, kahit anong gawin nyo, as long as you are doing it with your family. Kasi syempre, hindi naman pwedeng friends. Kasi nga, virtually lang pwedeng gawin. Pero pwede naman, kung kaya nyo, di ba? I think puso naman yung mag-zoom kayo ng mga friends nyo. So, you can do those activities na pwedeng mag-manage din ng stress nyo. So, at least, may activities na kayo, nagsisik pa kayo ng social support then with other people.
Thank you, ma'am. Ang ganda nun, sir. How about you, sir? Gusto mo ba una? Ako muna.
Sige, ako muna, sir.
Okay, sir.
Kasi medyo may hugot. And then kasi every day po, students are messaging me about their tawag dito, well-being, na stress po sila sa mga nangyari. So every now and then they're asking me din po about this po, no, kung ano kaya pwede lang gawin. Pero yun nga po, medyo case-to-case siya. So I talk to them, I give time para mapausap po sila. Anyway, para po sa mga viewers, gusto ko lang din po maging malinaw na stress is not actually an enemy, technically speaking.
Yeah, I agree.
Kasi po may tatawag yung stress or positive stress. It's more on how you see what happens to you. Okay? And kaya nga po managing stress yung tawag, di ba? Hindi siya parang stress eradication because stress supposedly hindi siya tinatanggal, minamanage. No? So maganda pong tanong din yun, sir, kasi tulad po ngayon, students sa taas po ng stress level kasi tsaka online pa. Usually what I do po, yung mga sinabi ni Ma'am kanina kasi mga ganun din po. So siguro dadagdagan ko na lang din. Uh, pati yung mga nasa presentation kanina may mga coping strategies. Usually I teach that to my students din po, no, regardless of their major. Parang nagtuturo din po ako nung alam pwedeng gawin mga breathing exercises or journaling. Depende po kung ano yung ayun po kung ano po yung comfortable silang gawin. Yung iba po sinusubukan nila. And isa po yung recently na ginagawa namin. Parang I'm trying to encourage them to rearrange their schedule kasi iba po yung usual po nilang kinikwento sa akin. Parang nahihirapan sila mag-adjust na nag-aaral sila nagkaklase pala, sorry. Nagkaklase po sila sa bahay. Eh, parang hindi daw sila sanay. Parang na-messed up po yung nila, yung scheduling. So, we're trying to do different rescheduling of activities. And I negotiate po as a teacher. I negotiate. And para po mas maging manageable yung mga tasks. Parang we always communicate. Hindi po ako too strict, hindi rin po ako too lenient. Sila din po, they're doing their part. And also, minsan may mga ginagawa po kaming katuwaan din during the online class. Parang hindi siya masyadong boring or masyadong sa kanila. Parang kahit yung klase is a source of social support din nila. Parang they would look forward to attend the online class din. And ayun po. And I always tell them to always check themselves every day. Parang paggising nila bago sila matulog, lagi lang i-check. Kamusta nila yung sarili nila. Okay. Ayun po. Yun muna po. Baka mamaya dumaldal ako ng bongga. Okay. Sir, how about you?
Abutin tayo ng 3:00 ng umaga niyan.
Pero I like what you said na yung stress hindi yan dapat tinatanggal sa atin. It's being managed. If you could remember dun sa main takeaway ko, yung quote na about identifying your inner strength. It's not just about identifying your inner strength, but it's also important na ma-identify mo din yung mga kind of stress. Kasi yun yung makakatulong pa sa'yo to become better and to become stronger.
Yes po.
Yes. Ayan. Ako naman po, sir, what I do and what I share with my students as well is try to separate the school activities, even though they're studying at home. We try to separate the school activities from your regular home activities. Sasuggest po ako na baka they can create a space for their school or work activities sa isang corner ng house para whenever they go to that space or that place, naka-focus po yung katawan natin, yung mind po natin naka-ready for that action. And then hindi po nati-disturb or hindi po nagagalaw yung normal na nakasanayan po natin sa bahay, like when we go to our bedroom, sanay po tayong magpapahinga na. We try to drive away na dun po tayo mag-work, dun din tayo mag-aaral kasi na-mess up po yung katawan ng kasanayan po natin. So I always suggest na may sarili pong working space. It would really help a lot. As well as don't forget to take care of your hygiene as well. No, when you start going to school, be at your best look, di ba? Dress to kill ba?
Yeah.
Kasi even if you're working at home. Oh yeah, because you're setting the proper expectations for your body and your mind. So hindi nagugulo yung nakasanayan mo even though you're staying at home doing all these stuff, pero yung mind and body mo ay prepared for those activities kasi you're still doing what you were used to be doing in the past, di ba?
Yeah.
Just my suggestion. And as well, of course, yung checking in with ourselves, that's really helpful. At pati po ang mindful breathing, no, we realign our focus. Yung pong mindfulness through the 5 senses, it really helps a lot to realign our focus. Included na po rin yung natin, mindful breathing, ganun.
Yes po. Very helpful po siya. Pati mga grounding strategies.
Right,
Very helpful.
Yeah, gusto ko yung source of strength ni Ma'am Kay kanina.
Yes po.
Find your source.
I
always do that.
Source of strength ko.
Linalabas ko po siya through drawing even though hindi po kaakit-akit ang aking drawing pieces, pero doon ko po siya nilalabas. Maybe iba-iba po ang ating modalities when it comes to work. So there's a lot of way on how people can identify their or find their source of strength, and it would really help you realign your focus and dun tayo sa sa goal natin. No? It sets a goal for us.
Good.
Ayun po.
Opo.
Ayan, sir, may
Okay.
add pa po kayo.
May comment po dito si Marnie. Hello Marnie. Okay, Marnie po is nasa sa guidance po ng EAC. Okay, so
Okay.
babati na siya. EAC Cavite Center for Counseling and Career and Student Development is heart.
Hi,
Thank you for the
ma'am.
support po.
Wow,
Thank you for the
thank you so
support.
much.
Ayan po, baka may okay, ito may okay, sabi po ni Miss Bea, ay kasamahan din po namin sa Sinagdiwa, si Miss Bea. Pati po si Doc Dags kanina yung nagtanong po. Hi ma'am, thank you for your informative talk. Heart. Question po. Is it normal po sa ganitong age namin, around 20s, di pa sinabi, ay na-experience po namin ang existential crisis? And ano po ang tips nyo or recommendations para sa makapag-cope po kami sa ganitong experience or feelings? Thank you so much, Madam. Heart.
Yeah, I think it's just normal kasi nandun na rin kayo sa stage ng identity crisis nyo or kung hinahanap nyo rin yung sarili nyo. And for some who's also experiencing yung mga quarter life crisis na tinatawag natin kasi pabata na siya ng pabata, di ba? Usually before ang quarter life crisis, nag-start it from ages 23 to 28 or 30 ganyan. Pero ngayon pabata na siya ng pabata. And I'll just sa segundahan ko nung yung sinabi ni Sir Chen kanina, na itong self-case conceptualization can also parang pwede mo rin siyang gamitin para when you're experiencing this kind of crisis in your life and yung mga coping strategies nyo. Kasi when you are experiencing existential crisis, ang kailangan mo lang talaga dyan is to really go back to who you are, kung sino ka ba talaga, anong purpose mo. Kung kailangan mong malaman sa sarili mo, who are you, who am I, for you to know your purpose. Kasi if you don't know yourself, then you will not know kung ano yung purpose mo sa mundong ito. So, yeah. And I thank you, Joe.
Thank you for that wonderful answer, ma'am. Pero ano po,
Miss Universe pala ito.
pang miss you. Dito, ma'am. Pero tama po kayo kasi observation ko rin yan. Parang napa-advance yung quarter life crisis. Di ba dapat quarter mga 25? Parang napaaga.
Sorry to cut you. Sorry. Okay lang. Go ahead.
Okay po. And parang lang, ma'am. Kasi since most of my students mga early 20s or 20, yan yung isa sa usual po nila tatanong sa akin. Normal lang po ba ito? Ganito po naramdaman ko. I feel lost. Tapos usual, ang napapansin ko rin kasi, ma'am, parang yung the kind of standard ng society kasi natin, parang, di ba parang may mga post sa Facebook na 22 years old, may bahay na, 23, ganito, may ano na. So parang nakaka-pressure na parang ako, 20 something years old.
Thumbs up.
Parang, okay, so may lahat ba tayo, supposedly, parang, kakaiba po tayo ng experience, may kakaiba tayo ng life. So iba parang medyo na sila, nape-pressure, kumbaga.
Yeah. I agree. I definitely agree because ako, personally, I experienced that sa sarili ko and I use this technique, itong self-case conceptualization, and it helped a lot. Talagang nung ginawa ko siya, nung nalaman ko na, ay, pwede pa nung mag-self-case conceptualization kasi given it's automatic in us na talagang when we say case conceptualization, clinical setting na siya. Hindi siya yung pwede mong gawin sa sarili mo. Pero when we're done with our clinical psych subject, natutunan namin to. And I actually used this one. Kasi nung nagkaroon kami ng presentation sa sarili namin, ginawa ko tong steps na to at nalaman ko that I actually nag-undergo ako sa quarter life crisis sa mas mababang edad. Kumbaga, parang I think at the age of 22 or 23 ata, naranasan ko na siya. Yung parang, tama ka dun sa sinabi mo, Sir Jax, na nakikita ko yung mga friends ko no at the age of 24 ganyan or 22 ganyan may mga sarili na silang bahay, they have their own businesses ganyan. Kumbaga some of them they're not even working na mababa yung salary nila. So ako I have to ask myself, anong nangyari sa iyo? Bakit ganito? So yun na, ginawa ko ng tong case conceptualization and then I was reminded na kung hindi mo pa yun time, pwedeng hindi talaga yun mangyayari sa'yo. Kasi timing lang din yan. Timing lang din. And then, of course, yung purpose mo dito sa mundong to, depende naman yan. Hindi naman hindi tayo lahat pare-parehas.
Totoo.
That's right, no? Accept, acknowledge, and do something about it.
Yes.
Food. Tama po. Anyway, ayun. Nag-ano naman po ako. Nag-i-insight na naman ako. Live ako nag-iisip. Questions po and comments. Baka may po tayong questions or comments. Po. Ayan po, may isa po si Sir Gio ulit. Yes, and this pandemic intensifies yung quarter life crisis natin even more.
Yeah. Actually, hindi lang din yung quarter life crisis. A lot of problems or a lot of crisis in ourselves. Lahat yan. Kasi kahit tayo, di ba? Kahit tayo na nag-aaral ng psychology, kahit tayo mga practitioners, kami sa The One Psychologist, we personally believe that even the psychologists need another psychology para makatulong sa kanila. So parang
That's right.
lahat talaga, we just have to identify yung mga, kaya nga kailangan alam mo sa sarili mo kung saan ka ba nakakuha ng lakas. Because when you're about to face challenges or difficulties or crisis in your life, pwede kang bumalik dun sa mga personal values mo, sa mga strengths mo, yung mga ginagawa mo para bumalik din yung sigla mo sa paggawa ng mga bagay na dapat mong gawin. So, and I believe para sa mga estudyante ito gusto kong sabihin sa inyo that this pandemic, and for everyone na lang pala, this pandemic should not let you stop from learning. Kasi, as you can see, itong technology na to, itong world of online classes or technology involvement na to, it happened way back pa. So parang, it happened parang 10 years or 20 years ago pa. And as the technology evolves, so are we. Dapat tayo rin, nag-evolve lang din tayo. So dapat, we are accepting the change, not just the new normal, but we are accepting the change because it really happens. Ito yung change yung hindi nawawala sa buhay nating lahat.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
po.
right. And thank you very much, Miss K. Meron po tayo isa pang comment. Si Almika from Almika Rapal. Thank you for all the information. Po, this topic really helped me to know myself more. Wow, congratulations.
Oh, thank
Yes.
you po.
Yun po talaga ang ating nais mangyari. Meron pa pong next dyan. And
Hello po,
from...
Okay.
basta gusto niyo?
Pwede rin, ma'am. Pwede
Sino
rin,
na
Kay.
pinagbasa?
Hello po, I am
Hello po.
currently meeting someone who needs psychological help. 2 times na po kaming nag-meet. May physical conditions din po kasi siya na nagkaka-apekto sa psych part. Ask ko lang po kung anong proper way and pwede kong gawin to end our consultation kasi po, pati marital concerns nila ay nilalapit sa akin and I'm no expert sa mga ganitong bagay. Salamat po. I think pwede mong gawin dyan yung referral, di ba? Yan yung sa one of the ethics natin na kapag you cannot handle the patient or the client or the person, you can do referral na. So, kung meron kang, if you're part of the institution, I think meron naman sigurong referral, dito form, mga ganyan. So,
yes, and by the way, for everyone, for all our viewers, if you do need some help or assistance or guidance regarding this, no, katulad ni Ma'am Marnie, you can reach out to us and we have a list, like Sir Jax na
Yes po.
pwede po natin silang i-refer to our partners and friends na in the industry.
Yes
So
po.
we can serve as your link.
Kasi po yung isa, kasi ano po kami parang sa Sinagdiwa po, parang nag-link din po kami. Kami po yung nagtutulong
good.
Yep.
Sa mga, ayun po. So yun po, you can contact
Ayan.
us po. And yun po, ay add ko lang po sinabi ni Miss Kay. Yun nga po yung sa ethics. And usually pag talagang di ba, yung sa ethics po natin yung competence, yung parang you should know what you can do para
Right.
siguro since nandun tayo, parang ang pinaka-role na lang natin is to support and to encourage and to explain to that person kung bakit kailangan ng referral or para po siya maka-help, parang gano'n.
That's true.
Sir Chen, may comment po ba?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I was reading but I was on mute. I'm so sorry.
Okay lang.
Bosto, watching from Carmona, Cavite. Thank you for the timely knowledge and information. More power, Sinagdiwa. Thank you very much, ma'am. Yes, we will strive.
Thank you for the support.
And for continue supporting us. Thank you so much.
Nakakatuwa, may dami nating nanonood pala. And may
Yes.
replay naman po ito. In case po na baka may na-miss. Kasi may estudyante ko po sabi, hala sir, may klase kami. Hindi namin kayo mapanood. Hindi namin mapanood yung ano.
And
Kasi excited po
I'm
sila.
very willing to accommodate questions even after this online streaming.
Ayun po, narinig po yung sabi ni Miss Kay. So, even after,
Oh my. Joke. Yeah, I'm very willing. Just reach out to me na lang siguro.
Oh, how can
ano
they
po
reach
yung,
out to you, ma'am?
through email po ba?
Through email, via messenger, pwede nyo siguro akong i-contactin through messenger na lang para mas madali.
Opo, sige ma'am. Ayun po, so I guess we can reach ma'am through messenger or email po.
Yeah. Mm-mm. Okay, baka
So
may
do we have more
questions
ano
na
po? Do we have more
Kayo ba?
questions
May
po?
questions ba kayong dalawa?
Actually, ma'am. Actually, I have questions in my mind kanina. Kaso
Sure ka dyan,
nasagot na
ma'am?
siya. Oo.
Si Sir Jack po, aabuti po tayo ng hating umaga.
Sige lang, go. Baka naman masagot.
Nakatingin ako sa oras eh. Sabi ko, baka awatin na naman ako ng mga ito. Magtanong ako. Ayun po. O,
Ikaw,
sagot ni Sir
sir.
Gion. More power po si Nagdiwa and the One Psychologist. Yes, thank you po ulit sa
Thank you
support.
so
Yes,
much.
thank
Opo.
you.
Mm-mm. Actually, ayun, paisip ko yung tatanong ko kanina. Ayun po, pero isa talagang naglalinger sa aking question kanina. Ma'am. Parang gusto ko kasi sana i-share din to sa mga students ko po eh.
Mhm.
Itong topic, especially sa self-case conceptualization. This is something new to me. Hindi ko talagang ang aking mind bago magsimula itong talk, yung ganon is for clinical setting lang. So, parang iniisip ko, ano po ba yung mga kailangan nating i-consider when we're doing that para hindi siya magmukhang parang mapaliwanag po natin na maayos sa mga laymen kung ano po ba yung self-case conceptualization, para saan po siya, and paano po siya nakakatulong sa ating well-being.
Yeah. Siguro when we're going to talk about this self-case conceptualization, we have to really disclaim that this is far different from the clinical case conceptualization, no. But this is something as parang we can consider as self-help technique to increase our mental well-being. So instead of doing self-diagnosis, kasi
Yeah.
when we say diagnosis, parang nakaset na sa mind ng mga taong nagda-diagnosis, nagsi-self-diagnose na ito na, sakit na nila to. Ito na yung mga sakit nila. So the difference between self-diagnosis and self-case conceptualization is that itong self-case conceptualization, you identify your problem, but you also identify yung mga bagay na pwede mong magawa to resolve the problem sa sarili mo, na kaya mo. And then from that certain point na nagawa mo na sa sarili mo, and syempre pataas ng pataas din yung level ng problema. So, kailangan mo ring you have to also set your mind na kapag pataas na ng pataas yung problema and you cannot handle, so that's the time na talagang mag-seek na tayo ng professional. Parang ito is just an initial stage or initial assessment of yourself. Kasi we're also, itong self-case conceptualization, magandang step din to for the clinicians. Kasi, di ba, when we're doing what we can explain to your students, no, na parang hindi sila malito, na ito talaga is for us lang to become better, to get to know ourselves deeply. Yun lang. Pero kasi when we're doing psychotherapy or counseling, kahit yung mga psychologists or yung psychotherapists, yung mga counselors, they also need the help of the client or the patient themselves or himself, herself, para mas maging successful, di ba, yung psychotherapy and counseling. Kailangan sila sa sarili nila. Na parang, hindi kasi porke expert tayo, hindi naman yung mga techniques natin ang makakagaling din talaga sa kanila. Ako, I believe ang makakagaling at makakagamot lang din talaga sa atin, yung sarili natin. But of course, with the guide of the professionals or the experts. And this self-case conceptualization is parang our guide, especially for those na they cannot afford yet yung mga counseling fees, yung mga, 'di ba, yung mga fees ng mga professional. So parang initial assessment nila sa sarili nila. At kapag alam nila sa sarili nila hindi talaga nila kayang ma-handle, then go to the professionals na and to the experts.
And I agree with that, ma'am. Ang ganda nung sinabi ni ma'am, especially yung sa psychotherapy din and counseling na kailangan talaga ma-cultivate na sila talaga gusto nila sa sarili nila. And I
Yes.
guess doon makakatulong yung self-case conceptualization. Kasi parang
Mm-mm.
since maging self-aware sila, ma-acknowledge nila na ay kailangan ko ng tulong. Kailangan ko
Yep.
tulungan
Yes.
yung sarili ko. Okay.
Exactly. And acceptance is very important kasi hindi mo rin naman magagamot yung client mo or yung patient mo if they do not accept the therapy or yung strategy na gagawin mo sa kanila. So that's very important din na kailangan ma-accept nila sa sarili nila, there's something wrong with me. So what do I need to do, di ba?
Yes.
Yeah. Ayan yung triple A.
Yes, true.
Triple A, di ba?
Mm-mm.
Acknowledge, accept, and act. Meron pa po tayong comment from Ma'am Marnie. Shout out po sa Astrolikha Inc. and Rotaract Club of Metro Poblacion Silang. If you need recreational or art and volunteering activities, you can check their page. Sorry, nabubulol na ako. Yes, and they work continuously with us with Sinag Diwa Volunteers for Mental Health. And in the future, the Juan Psychologist as well, if you guys are
Yes
open
po.
for that.
Yes po. And ayun po, yung Astrolika po and Rotaract ay para mga sister organizations po na sinagdiwa din. Kasi we're really after collaboration po eh. Opo,
Yes.
marami na po kami mga collaborations and all.
Wow, that's good.
Sige
And
po.
it's really our pleasure na makasama kami sa collaboration nyo.
Yes po. Opo, ma'am. And I believe at hopefully po ito isa sa simula ng marami pang susunod na collaborations po between the
And I believe
ano?
September is your anniversary, no?
Yes po.
Anniversary.
Oh,
Yes.
happy anniversary, guys. More
Thank you
power.
po.
Thank you po. Ay, ang dami po naming mga in-invite din po. Opo, ng mga organizations din. Anyway, Sir Chen, baka ikaw po may tanong ka po kay Miss Kay.
Wala na po, sir. Ikaw, Miss Kay, may tanong ka ba sa amin?
Alam yung mga tanong.
Sige. Ako may tanong ako.
Ayan.
Sige, ma'am.
May tanong ako siguro sa inyo. Kasi itong, hindi pala tanong eh, pero siguro challenge ko din sa inyo na try to do self-case conceptualization and then get back to me. It's your way of saying yung feedback na nakakatulong pala talaga. And then, siguro for future collaboration na din and advocacies ng Sinag Diwa and the One Psychologist, we can promote this together, yung self-case conceptualization. May project na tayo, future project
meron na.
That is a good idea.
I love it.
So, hindi pala yung question, no? So, challenge ko yun sa inyo. And
Opo.
then, let us know
Challenge
if it would
accepted.
also be a helpful tool para sa inyo.
Opo. Ano yan, ma'am? Challenge accepted po. I would really like to try it. Opo. Kasi parang it's something new to me na parang I'm excited actually to try it and to integrate yung mga iba pa namin ginagawa po before.
And then we can share if, we can share with our audience or with everyone else.
Pwede ako mag-give ng credit. Ito kasing topic na to, self-case conceptualization, as I've mentioned, natutunan ko talaga to sa clinical subject namin. So I'd like to give my credit lang dun sa professor namin, kay Doc Shay, kasi she's actually one of the professors ng FEU, and sobrang dami kong natutunan during that semester sa kanya, clinical side. So, lahat ng natutunan niya from this country sa iba't ibang parte pa ng kasi I think meron siyang credentials outside Philippines. So, na-i-share niya yun sa amin. And this self-case conceptualization is one of the things na naituro niya sa amin.
Si Doc Shake. I remember po, pag umattend po ako ng mga webinars and seminars, talagang ang laman. Malaman talaga. Tindi. Kaya, anyway, kanina po, bumati po si Sir Nathan Aganan. Congratulations si Nagdiwa. Thank you, Miss Kay Abiad. Opo. Sir Nathan po is po namin, member po ng Sinagdiwa and president po ng PAP Calabarzon Mimaropa chapter po.
Wow.
Hi, sir. Thank you po sa support, Sir Nathan.
Hi po. Thank you.
And from Sergio de la Paz, happy anniversary, Sinagdiwa. Heart.
Thank
you, sir.
Nakatuda, ang daming pagbati. Anyway, bakit may question pa po ba tayo?
I don't see anything else
Wala na yata,
right
no?
now. Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's all for
And
now.
yes po. I guess siguro pa I would just like to thank po ulit Miss Kay, Abiad, and the whole One Psychologist team. We are very grateful po talaga na tinanggap niyo po yung aming
It's
invitation,
an
especially
honor.
for our anniversary. Thank you, ma'am. And yun nga po, sana ay sa mga susunod pa po, sana po makaulit. Okay, sa mga susunod pa po nating
Anytime,
collaborations.
anytime. Just
Opo.
let us know.
Yes po. And i-low-key promote ko lang po yung mga nakita niyo po sa banner sa baba, yung mga social media accounts po namin sa Facebook, ito Facebook page, Twitter, and sa Twitter po sinagdiwa_ph. Facebook po sinagdiwa, medyo hindi po siya caps lock. Yung pinagkaiba. Facebook po sinagdiwa 2019 and YouTube po soon po. This is part of our awareness to action project. Again, to be straight na lang po, straightforward, we're trying to target na ma-monetize yung YouTube channel as a fundraising activity po. And 100% of the proceed will go po sa aming mga campaign, mental health campaign, and pagtulong po sa mga communities para mas mailapit po natin sa kanila ang mental health and psychological health po. And also, please support po the One Psychologist. I believe nilagay din po namin
Yes.
sa may banner po. The One Psychologist po. At very okay po yung content nila. Everyday tinignan ko yung content nila.
Thank you very much.
Nakakaaliw yung mga content nyo, ma'am.
Opo.
Okay.
At ang ganda rin po ng mga pagkakagawa ng mga
Yes po. Kaya sabi ko sana talaga, sabi ko sa mga kagrupo ko, invite natin si yung One Psychologist. No? Eh, buta ng babait po nila. So, thank you po talaga na madami. And ano lang po, low-key na ano lang din po, promotion lang po. Meron po tayong soon ulit ng mga susunod pa mga episodes. So, we will have an episode with Miss M, the head psychologist of Vita Center for Mental Health. Opo. Ang topic na po is how to deal with family members with mental health conditions. We would post na lang po kung ano pong oras and date yung ating...
That is tomorrow, no, sir?
I-double check po natin, ka-clarify po natin. And sa Saturday po, kasama po natin si Ma'am Rian, Portuguese, your millennial psychologist. So magkikwento po siya about sa kanyang mental health advocacy for the past years. Yun po.
Yes.
So sana po makasupport niyo po kami. And ang dami kong ano, sir, no? Ma'am Kay, baka meron po kayong mga gusto i-promote. Opo.
May negosyo ka po ba gusto i-promote? Online business?
Wala naman. Okay na. Lahat naman nandun sa page namin, The One Psychologist. I think may mga upcoming talk din. Pero, parang umiikot kasi sa amin yun eh. Kailangan lahat kami magto-talk talaga.
Okay. Nice. We'll be glad to share that, ma'am. I-host, mag-watch party tayo dun.
Opo. Mag-watch party. Kung live po ba?
Sorry?
Live po. Live po ba yun, ma'am? Yung mga talks nyo po?
Merong mga pre-recorded, pero meron ding mga live. Siguro nandun lang siya sa dun sa page namin. Hindi ko rin kabisado kasi yung schedule.
Sige po. Okay. I-share din po namin sa amin.
Thank you so much. Kami din, mag-share din kami.
Thank you, ma'am. All right. So I guess that's it for today. Anything else? Baka meron pa pong additional comments? Wala kayo, sir? Suggestions? Comments? Guys, don't forget to like, share, and hit the bell icon. Practice na yan, sir, para sa ating
vloggerist. Oo. Ayan po, feeling vloggerist na po kami. So anyway, thank you po sa lahat. Again, marami pa po mga susunod na episodes and marami pa tayong mga kasama ng mga mental health advocates and organizations and individuals. So sana po ay patuloy niyo pong supportan na Sinagdiwa and the One Psychologist po. Okay? Dito pala si ma'am sa kabila. Anyway, ingat po kayo palagi. Always take care of your well-being. Thank you so much po.
Yes. Salamat.
Baka we can take a picture pala. Sorry. We can take a picture. Send nyo sa akin. Kayo na lang mag-picture. Kung okay lang.
Yes, ma'am. Opo, sa backstage, ma'am. Mag-ano po tayo sa after pong yung live.
Okay. Sige.
Okay. Don't leave the conference.
Yes po. Again, thank you po ulit sa lahat. Babay na po tayo.
Okay, bye guys. Thank you.
Thank you po.